We've made habits of labeling these foods, and it's not by no fault of our own. Like it was passed down to us either from our mothers or from marketing.
Is it really worth the calories that I'm putting into my body, and what benefit am I getting out of those calories? I think convenience in the food industry is what is making America extremely unhealthy.
Well, we've all been there. You're doing great with your meals and your workouts, and then a craving for chocolate, chips, or even ice cream hits. Suddenly, you're standing in the kitchen wondering how the heck you got there. Today, we're breaking down exactly how to combat cravings without feeling restricted, so you can enjoy the foods you love without letting them derail your progress. Since cravings are a natural human process, we're talking about managing cravings, not banning them. Just a reminder that we are not doctors. We are just sisters that overshare about health and hope it helps. If you've been helped by our podcast or have even related to it a little bit, please take a second to give our show 5 stars. It lets us know how we're doing, and it'll help more women find our show and get the support they need. Well, Ellie, let's cravings today. I'm super excited about it because that's something I've really dealt with. So we're gonna start this episode off. I'm gonna ask you, what is like your number one craving that like derailed the entire train for you when you first started your journey?
Something sweet at night. I need something sweet 95% of the time. I need something sweet. But I'm not really a chip person. I'm not really like a salty person either, but something sweet. Oh my God, Kaylin, I could just, oh, every night. Every night. What about you?
I want to say that I'm the same way, but I don't feel like for me when I had started, like it was an at night kind of thing. For me, it was
Mm.
just like, I will eat up Oreos at any point in time during the day. Like that was the food. And I think I talked about that maybe like first episode when we were talking about our journeys. Like Oreos were the food. And now it's definitely like, I do love a little something sweet, but I found ways to like not feel gross after having something sweet at this point.
Can I tell you, I still have something sweet every single night because it is a part of me. My grandfather actually, I think, instilled this into me where he's someone I know that's always been like, let's have something sweet. My grandpa Burns, shout out. He made it a point when we go out to restaurants, they always ask, would you like dessert with that? Yes, of course we do. And I'm like, now I must have something sweet after meals, but I feel like it rounds out my taste buds. I almost feel incomplete when I do not have something sweet after like a savory, salty meal, something like that. I need it. And now
Yep,
something sweet might look like fruit, but it's still sweet and it needs to, it's a nightcap.
absolutely. I think I conditioned myself to needing something sweet after dinner, but like I'm not mad about it. My meals for the day, I've got breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then a dessert always. Like there's four kind of categories every day.
So, Kaylin, with your nutrition background, tell me why cravings happen.
I mean, there's definitely a few different reasons. Like I just talked about, like you can actually program yourself to have cravings depending on the environment that you're in. If you're seeing a lot of advertisements or billboards or just things on your phone, people love talking about and making videos about food. So
Mm-hmm.
your environment is a large reason that you have cravings, because if you're not seeing it, you're not thinking about it, you're not going to crave it unless it's something that you keep seeing and keep being reminded of. But on the physical level, it's actually something that happens inside of you, like chemically. Your blood sugar can dip and it can, trigger thoughts of food, like trying to figure out what can satisfy that dip, which is usually something sweet or carbs or even something salty, something that's going to be highly palatable. It could mean that you're dehydrated. I think I've talked about this in other episodes that your body doesn't actually know the difference between hunger or dehydration. Maybe you just need a couple sips of water and you're not actually craving anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite, another reason is it could be just lack of protein or fiber, which are going to be the foods that are going to help you feel full, help you feel satiated, feel fuller for longer. And if any combination of those are not met, that's a large reason that you feel hungry for a specific food. Sometimes it can also be like emotional stress, things like that. Sometimes boredom or just triggers. Sometimes environmental triggers can be one as well.
Mom used to always say growing up, "Do you want that snack or are you just bored?" And I was bored. I was bored every time.
Every single time.
You're like, now that you mention it, I am kind of bored. It's a little boring around
Now
here
that you call me
sometimes.
out for it, it's boring around here. Can you entertain me?
Yeah, like, how about we do a little dance or something? Come on now,
You
or
got
else I'm gonna eat this.
you got some crafts for me?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think with these cravings, the issue comes into play when we almost like demonize having cravings as if cravings are a bad thing. But like I said, they are literally just a human natural process. Like we are meant to crave things because that's our body's way of telling us what it needs. And a lot of times we hijack it or just completely ignore it and just give it what we think it needs, which
Hmm.
in the case of dehydration, you're giving it food. And it's like, I just needed a sip of water. But when we're demonizing these cravings, a lot of times we're labeling our foods. Like, this is a good snack or a healthy snack, is what they typically mean, or this is a bad snack. And when we label foods like that, we're just perpetuating the issue because now we're bringing morals into it. And fun fact, foods don't have morals. They are objects. So they can't be good, they can't be bad. It's just not possible. So instead, we can look at it as more nutritious or less nutritious. Is this going to give my body anything or is it just going to satisfy my taste buds?
I'm actually really bad about labeling foods. I still, quote unquote, say that's a bad food or that's bad for you. But now, when it comes to snacking, I definitely do ask myself, what are those calories going to do in my body? Do you get what I'm saying? So, I just had a peach. I'm like, okay, I'm getting some nutrients. I'm also feeding my body. I had a protein shake right before that, getting some protein in there. All that to me is quote unquote good food. And I do still unfortunately label stuff as bad food. I need to get better at that. But I think it's all just perspective.
Absolutely. But when it comes to like the good and the bad, I think the issue that comes into play with that is when it perpetuates that cycle of increasing guilt for their overeating foods that are less nutritious. And I would say for me, like it took years of practicing, like, there are no bad foods, they're just less nutritious. Like it's such a habit. We've made habits of labeling these foods. And it's not by no fault of our own. Like it was passed down to us either from our mothers or from marketing. Like it's just an easy thing to do because how many times did you hear your mom or an aunt or a cousin or someone say, "Oh, I can't eat that. That's bad for me. Oh, I can't have that cookie. I can't have that cake. That's bad for me." Those kinds of things. And that's what we're used to hearing. So, what are some ways that you learned to kind of create like a strategy or like get rid of cravings?
One I learned that was a really big game changer was if you feel hungry, try and drink something first. Because a lot of times dehydration is disguised as hunger when in reality you're just thirsty. So a lot of times drinking that water will kind of satisfy that craving. Another one I like to go to, which this is a little hypocritical, but sometimes we're hypocrites, is that is it worth it? And I know we just talked about good and bad food, but sometimes I do think food can be worth it and cannot be worth it. And that would kind of be those quote unquote bad foods. Is it really worth the calories that I'm putting into my body? And what benefit am I getting out of those calories? Because that's today's society. It's a give and take, cause and effect. I want to see from anything I am doing, I want to see some sort of benefit in mind.
One thing I was thinking about this the other day, one of my newer clients in her check-in this week, she's like, I actually found that I'm only drinking water. I used to be a huge like Diet Coke girly, and now I just drink water. Like that's all I want. And I started reflecting on my journey, and when I started, like I was trying to pull every calorie from every kind of like if you're on a budget, like you're trying to reduce your subscriptions, you're trying to reduce spending that is unnecessary. Like I was trying to do that with my like calorie budget. So I was like,
Mm.
I'm going to drink water because I don't want to waste my calories on a soda or whatever it was. And that was a big part of it. Like the soda was not worth it to me. I would rather eat those calories than drink it in a liquid form because I'm going to feel more full from food versus a drink.
You said that to me before and it really stuck with me. I think it was when I was going to like Starbucks and getting the huge frappuccinos. You said, "Why are you drinking your calories? Like, that's the same caloric intake as a meal. Why are you drinking your calories?" Which it's funny because now, as we've talked about in morning routine, is I drink all my calories, it seems like, in the morning, but I'm getting nutritional value out of my calories, of course. But it's so true. I would rather a well-balanced meal. I feel like that will fill me a lot more than my frappuccino. Another one I like is the small amount satisfied. Now, I'm not saying to do this, but I have seen on TikTok many people doing this. It's called the 3-bite rule. I know. Kaylin's gonna like lose it.
I when you I at first I was like, I don't know what she's gonna come off with right now. But I just imagined you saying like take a couple bites and spit them out. And I was like, that is not what we're trying to go for here.
No, 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 no. You take 3 bites. I've never done this. I'm disclaimer, never done this. But you take 3 bites of whatever your craving is. You satisfy that craving. I think someone described it as you take that first bite for yourself. You take that second bite to satisfy the craving. You take that third bite to say goodbye, and then you're done with it.
I
Which
like
that's
that.
fun.
And it is fun and I think it has a valid point. Like I'm sure there's some type of like science behind it. But when I teach my clients to be mindful with their eating, because a lot of times it's learning how to have those foods in moderation,
Mhm.
you have to slow down. You have to savor the bite. So if you're telling yourself, I'm getting 3 bites, like you're gonna take that in. You're gonna pay attention to the smell. You're gonna pay attention to the texture. You're gonna make sure it's thoroughly chewed. You're gonna make sure it's touching every aspect of your mouth, which, fun fact, that actually does satisfy cravings more when you get the full experience, the emotional, the physical, the actual taste buds getting a touch and a taste of that food. It really does satisfy those cravings, so you might need less than what you actually think.
Yes, and don't forget that in America, whenever you get something out, generally it comes to caloric intake wise, half of your calories for the day, for the most part. So remember,
All
you
of them.
taking those pretty much. So you taking those 3 bites might actually be like 400 calories and you don't even know it. So let's just keep that in mind. But I'm not saying do that with all your food. I'm not promoting starvation, anything like that. It's just a fun little tip for if you want to still eat those foods, 3 bite it.
Three-bite it.
3 bite it. Why not?
And what do? We say hello? Is that the first one?
We say
What's the first bite?
we do it for like ourselves. And then the second bite is to satisfy the craving. Third bite, say goodbye. See ya.
Hi.
My favorite snack, late night snack, and this brings me to the fourth one, is pair cravings with balance. And I literally had this last night and it was so stinking good. I might have it again tonight if I'm feeling crazy. But I have chopped up cherries because cherries are in season and they are delectable, delicious, delightful. And then I do melted chocolate. Now I get my chocolate from a health food store locally, and it doesn't have any preservatives, artificial sweeteners, nothing like that. It's just, I believe, cocoa butter, unsweetened chocolate, and cane sugar. I melt that down to like a sauce, and then you put cherries in it. Oh my gosh. Delicious. And I'm getting a little fiber
So
from the
good.
cherries. Yes. So that's fun. So like pair things together. So you're getting that sweet sensation, but you're also getting another one is blueberries and chocolate. You get that antioxidants from the blueberries, but you're having a little bit of chocolate and it's delicious. And you can pair it with dark chocolate as well, which I do sometimes. Sometimes I don't, because sometimes I want that full chocolate effect. And
Mhm.
that's okay, because sometimes dark chocolate tastes like dirt. Depends on the day. But you get your fiber in.
And I think the main reason that we talk about getting fiber in is because that helps like slow that spike in our blood sugar, which is not a bad thing. Like that's a human process. That's why people with diabetes, why that's an issue if they're not doing that. But with these blood sugar spikes all the time, too frequently, it can make our body weight harder to manage and can stress your metabolism, which is why we talk about having protein, having fiber, things that are going to slow down digestion and kind of prevents a large word. So reduce the likelihood of other serious health issues metabolically. So that's why we really, really talk about that.
You said they slow down digestion. Did you mean speed up digestion?
Nope, fiber slows down your digestion so that you're fuller longer.
Oh, see, I'm learning too, everyone.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's why we love protein. That's why we love fiber. It slows down your digestion. So your bloodstream is getting that uptake of insulin and sugar, blood sugar levels are more managed because it's entering your bloodstream at a slower rate.
Stunning. I didn't even know that. But that's great.
Mhm.
Now, what are some ways to reduce overeating, in your opinion?
My favorite one, I had read a book. It was called Eat Smarter. I don't remember who wrote it, but a few years ago now. But they talked about having like a cutoff time for eating at night. And I think that
Mm.
helps me. One, because I kind of like make a rule for myself and it works for me. If you're someone that feels like, oh, I can't have that, like it's off limits and it makes you want it more, like that's not going to work for you. But for me, like I love about a 7:30 cutoff because I like to give myself a little bit of time before I go to bed, like an hour and a half, 2 hours to finish digesting my food so I don't go to bed on a full stomach. Not that that's an issue, it's what makes me feel good. And it also helps with autophagy, which is like the killing off of the cells that you don't really need. So the longer your cells are fasted, the better they're able to function and die off in a healthy fashion. So that's one thing that I really like to do is just having that cutoff time. So it's not fasting per se because I eat pretty early in the morning, at least on the mornings that I go to the gym. But it's usually around like a 10 to 12 hour like fast every night. And that's what helps me feel my best. Another one would probably be like portioning things out. Anytime I give my clients tips on like eating out, social events, parties, those kinds of things, always put what you're going to eat in front of you. You don't want to be grazing and just have absolutely no idea how much you're eating because that's a great way to way overeat. You've got your plate
Mm.
in front of you. Imagine all of the times that you've gone grazing at a party. Like, if you put it on a plate in front of you and imagine an entire plate of like buffalo chicken dip, you would never eat an entire plate of buffalo chicken dip. But if you're grazing at a party for hours, you're not even aware that you just ate an entire plate of buffalo chicken dip. So portion everything out. Put it in front of your face so your eyeballs can see what you're eating. And I think that alone is the accountability you need for yourself.
I have eaten an entire plate of buffalo chicken dip, and I'll do it again. and I'll
An
do it
entire crock in
again.
your life.
I'll do it. But can I tell you, pro tip, side note, swap out your cream cheese for cottage cheese. You're eating protein. You're welcome. And now I'll
Yes.
eat a whole plate. Do you see why I'm eating a whole plate? And because I love
Yes,
it.
because it's nutritious now. It's not just empty things that are not doing anything for us. But I
Yeah.
think that's another great tip is making healthier swaps that are nutritious. So instead of having the entire full fat, which again, that's not bad, but if you're a girly that wants to eat an entire plate of buffalo chicken dip, like let's make it a little healthier. Why don't we? We
Mm.
can make our entire protein intake for the day just buffalo chicken dip if we please. So that's one way. You said swapping the sour cream for cottage cheese. You can even swap it for Greek yogurt if you don't want like the chunks, or you can blend your cottage cheese. There's lots of options. I will say I use Greek yogurt as a quote unquote healthy swap all the time. I make ranch with it. Yeah, I remember you made like buttermilk ranch before with when we were making butter, our Amish butter days.
Hmm.
Um, but the Greek yogurt really helps to reduce calories but increase protein. Like there's calories that are getting put to work in your body rather than just being highly caloric and increasing our calorie intake for the day.
Empty calories.
Empty calories. And then you were talking about like chocolate. Dark chocolate obviously is a better way to go because it's not got as much sugar. It's not as processed. Obviously, there's
Hmm.
not milk in it. And who knows how the heck milk chocolate is made. I've been to the Hershey factory so many times. I've been through the whole ride and they show us how the chocolate's made, but who knows how it's actually made.
Yes, the cows have sang to me many times. If you've been to
I'm sure they
Hershey,
sang me to sleep.
if you've been to Hershey, you know what we're talking about. But there's this little ride that you go through the factory, and the cows, they sing to you about making the chocolate.
They do. But if you are a chocolate girly, like that could be a good swap when you're pairing it with something else sweet. You might not even notice that it's not milk chocolate.
Yes.
And I will say, while you're making these swaps, don't expect it to taste like heaven on earth the first time you have it. Like, it does take an acquired taste to get used to these if you're not used to them. Like, I used to tell myself that I liked black coffee, and I don't. I tried it for a long time, and I just don't. I used to tell myself that powdered peanut butter was just as good as regular peanut butter. That was a lie. It was a straight up lie. You cannot mix powdered peanut butter with water and say it tastes like the delectable Smucker's natural creamy peanut butter.
Kaylin used to die on the hill that spaghetti squash tasted better or the same as actual pasta. And I love spaghetti squash, but it will never be pasta. She would
Never.
make us eat it for dinner with like red marinara sauce.
And
And I
like
don't think any meat.
white baked chicken. No, we definitely had meat.
Chicken
It
with
had to have
red
protein.
sauce?
Yeah. I
You made
remember
us
like
do crazy things.
it's in my brain. I do remember the spaghetti squash with the red spaghetti sauce and then like a baked chicken breast.
Yeah, no. And I remember the first time I ate it too. She was like, "It's so good. You're gonna love it. It's so good. It's so healthy." I was like, "Kaylin, this sucks." It's
You're like,
probably
this
a
is not the life for me.
no, which I love spaghetti squash now, and I make it very well, and I put a bunch of fun stuff on it, but I will never ever say, you know, it's an easy swap out for pasta. No, it's not. You're
What do you
lying.
mean?
An easy swap
Steamed
out for
spaghetti
pasta,
squash is not good.
no. An easy swap out for pasta is like getting organic pasta or things like that, so it's less processed, or make your own pasta, but
Let me ask you, because I know this is probably a thought running in people's heads. They've heard of like these protein pastas. Like, would you consider that a healthy swap?
I think me and you are gonna have different opinions on this because you know I'm all about less processed, the more natural, the better, real foods, whereas the protein pasta goes through actually more of a processing to get that protein in there pretty much, where I would just rather go for organic pasta and have either beef or chicken with my meal to add my protein that way because now I'm not getting protein from an unknown source of pasta.
So might surprise you, but I'm on the same wavelength. I have really made the switch. And back in the day, I probably would have said, oh my gosh, if you're gonna have pasta, like of course, just put protein pasta in. You can get more protein in. But I would also be encouraging them to have a protein, like a meat source with it. So it's like, okay, if you're struggling, like let's make up for the day at dinner. But now more so, and I probably don't push this narrative as much, but I am absolutely like a whole food person.
Mhm.
100%. If it comes down to the protein, like add some cottage cheese in there or something. Like you don't need to have a more processed pasta, just like you were saying.
And if you're having pasta, little fun fact, Parmesan cheese can have just as much protein as a protein bar.
Nutritional yeast is another hidden.
Mm.
It's they say it tastes cheesy. I don't think I've had it in a large enough quantity for me to say yes, it tastes like cheese, but it does pack a mean punch of protein.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's interesting.
You'll have to look that one up.
So, another one, don't stockpile trigger foods. So, I think this goes back to what I was yelling about in a podcast previously, probably, is don't have the foods in the home. So I like to, when we get done with the farmer's market, we come home right away, prep all of our veggies, prep all of our fruit. I have this thing that I call, I think I coined it, so no one steal it, but you can use it, is open fridge policy. So all of my fruit is sitting open in my fridge. That way, sometimes when I'm just in my fridge looking, I'm like, oh, let me grab a little handful of blueberries. It's so easy and accessible, and that's what you need to do with all of your produce. But
I
I don't
think even
have,
having it in like glass containers is helpful because you can see it. Like it's kind of like an environmental design. You know, if you've got unhealthy foods in the house for whatever reason, maybe someone else that lives with you enjoys them and you can't control them, you know, put them away. Don't leave them on the counter. Like if they're out of sight, they're out of mind. So if you can engineer your environment to be more conducive to your goals, putting the things that you don't want to be eating away, having the things you want to be eating more of out in the open so you're seeing them visually, that's going to help you just in itself.
yes, another thing, get rid of the chips, cookies, sweets. Get rid of it. Don't have it in the house. If you want to have it elsewhere from time to time, that is very different than having a full thing of Oreos in your home.
And if that's the case, like grab a pack in the grocery store checkout, like one of those things that has like six in it or whatever
Mhm.
it is. I don't know. I haven't seen them in a while, but just grab something little that's going to satisfy the craving. So you can be like, okay, I had what I need and be done. And I think one thing that this is something I have not followed through on, but I know with you, like your biggest thing is like unlearning the convenience of it. And I think that's a huge thing. And you try to find the dupes, you try to make them at home. I sit back and say, man, I really wish that I can make XYZ at home. And then I just don't have it at all, and that's just the way I roll. But like you actually find ways to make them at home to where you can be like, if I'm not willing to make it myself, I don't need it that bad.
I That's so funny that you say that because I actually have an Oreo recipe saved in my TikTok that
Make
at
me
some point
Oreos.
I'm going to try and make Oreos. I'll have to let everyone know how it goes and it might be a while, so pin this conversation. We'll come back to it when it happens. But I do not like convenience. Said no one ever. But I think convenience in the food industry is what is making America extremely unhealthy. The fact that you can go into the freezer aisle and get a full dinner like meat, vegetable, starch, all in one little container that you throw in the microwave. It's giving Back to the Future. What's Back to the Future 2? What is that one? Where they take the
Don't
little
ask
thing, they
me.
put it in the microwave, and then it's a full meal then. Like, that's ridiculous. It's a reason it was so ridiculous in that movie, but now we can just do that, which is crazy. Like, that's not real food. I'm
Oh my
very
gosh,
passionate about it.
the amount of times I look at something, what is it? Like even cream cheese, for example. There are some foods that'll be open or just have a sell by date on it that I just look at it and I'm like, how can you be real? If you're
Mhm.
going to tell me that cheese is going to last me 17 years after it's been open in the fridge, how can you be real? What are you? And I get really skeptical because I'm like, I'm pitched out by you.
For sure. That's why I try to get a lot of my stuff without preservatives. And then if it doesn't have preservatives in it, I'm not going by the expiration date. I'm going in to where it looks like it's bad.
Oh, yeah, everything, it gets a sniff test, which
Yes.
I didn't do that yesterday and I ended up wasting an entire cup of coffee because my cream curdled, but we have our days.
It happens to the best of us. It does.
It does.
But get the convenience out of your house. Eat whole foods, eat real foods. It's so funny. I was making my snack for work with Will the other night, and I put in a bag. I did a peach, I did some cherries, I did some blueberries, and I was like, I think my spidey senses are telling me I'm going to want more tomorrow. So I also put some cherry tomatoes and some cut up cheese in a bag. And I said, look at that. That looks delicious. And he goes, it's really not that hard. I said, it's really not that hard. Like, that's all
Guys
it
are
is.
like
That's
hyping each
all
other
whole
up in the
foods.
kitchen.
I know. We are. We are.
Like, well, would you look at that? Easy.
We're like out healthing each other.
That's so funny. Okay, so let's talk about some mindset shifts because I don't think people want to hear, but like the mental journey, I've probably said this a million times already. Don't hate me. I'm
Mm.
just the messenger. The mental journey of health and fitness, it's like 70 to 80%. Your results are 70 to 80% driven by the way you're thinking about things versus like the actual plan and follow through and consistency of the plan. So when it comes to these cravings, I think what we have to remember now, depending on how hungry you allow yourself to get, which you shouldn't be letting yourself get to a point that you're like absolutely starving and ravenous. But if you are having cravings, it is not an emergency. The sky is not falling. Give yourself a second to decide. If you have an open fridge policy, open the fridge, grab a handful of blueberries, take a second, take a breath, and think about what you want. Do not act on the first thing that you think of.
This is a big one for me because it literally just happened today. When I get very hungry, sometimes I will get extremely nauseous. And I'm like, I am literally going to make a scene and throw up all over this establishment if I do not eat something. But knowing that about myself, I had a That's It bar in my purse, which, if you don't know what That's It bars are, they are little, I don't want to call them granola bars. They're little snack bars that has,
Fruit bar.
yes, it has like apples and strawberries in it, and that's it. Hence,
That's it.
That's It bar. Yes. So I know that about myself. I knew I was going to be at my nail appointment for a pretty long time today. So I threw that in my purse and said to my nail girl, I said, I'm about to throw up. And of course, she got a little nervous. And I said, no, 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 no. All good. Just have to do my little That's It bar. Let me wait till the light is off. She said, you can take your nails out whenever you want. I said, oh, perfect. So then I ate my That's It bar. But planning for that is huge. And knowing that's not an emergency, even though it really felt like an emergency at the time. It really wasn't an emergency. I probably wasn't gonna throw up. You never know. But
But you felt like it.
I definitely wasn't gonna throw up because I brought my little snack.
Exactly. One thing that I don't remember where I saw it, but it was definitely in like relation to pregnancy and just like, sometimes those hunger pains just like hit you out of nowhere. You weren't expecting it. You had a full meal, but like you're out and about and it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm starving right now. And the recommendation was to keep some what was it, purse meat. Make sure you got your purse meat available. So like your meat sticks or whatever. And I was like,
Mhm.
purse meat just sounds like it kind of sounds dirty.
I love
And I don't like it.
a chomps bar in the purse.
Yeah. I
Delicious. I
have
like purse meat.
my yeah, my purse is now my diaper bag, so I have diaper bag meat, but it's usually like one of those mini like Archer bars. Josie loves chewing on them as a toy too. Unopened.
Diaper bag meat sounds a lot worse than purse meat. Anyways,
Another thing that we can shift when it comes to perspective is your permission. I think we talked about that in a couple previous episodes, is giving yourself the permission to enjoy the foods that you're craving because you can enjoy them,
Mhm.
especially if they're in moderation and you don't feel like crap once you're done. So think about that. Do you want to feel like crap after you have the food that you're really craving, or do you just want to feel satisfied? Because if that's the way you want to go, maybe 3 bites is all you need. And not feeling guilty for it. Because you don't have to feel guilty for it because you have permission. And the biggest thing, as always, is aiming for the long term consistency. If you can always satisfy your craving with 3 bites for the rest of your life, keep working toward your goals and feel good while you're doing it. I think you're going to want to continue doing that forever and ever and ever until you're no longer craving it. Versus always feeling like you're overeating the foods that you're craving and feeling like crap and feeling guilty for it and just repeating that cycle. Like it sounds silly when you say it. Like, would you rather overeat the food that you want 5 times more than what you actually need or can stomach for 3 days? Or would you rather just have 3 bites of that food that you're craving every day for the rest of eternity and still work toward your goals? Like the answer is clear here, but when we're in the moment, it seems almost trivial.
It comes back to it's a lifestyle, not a diet. Also, the 3-bite rule, it's not 100%. Your 3-bite rule could be that you have pizza on Friday nights. And that's just a part of your lifestyle, but you need to make it work within your health journey of if you're going to have pizza on Friday nights, because on Friday nights, maybe you're going to a football game, you crave the pizza and you know you're going to crave it, you set yourself up the entire day. And that's just your lifestyle. Is you have pizza on Friday nights. Done.
Mm-hmm. And
But
I
just
think
know.
for that example, what can shift with that and what I've seen shift with myself and even with my clients is your pizza on Friday night. Maybe it used to look like you ate an entire half pizza on Friday night
Mhm.
because you starved yourself all day because you thought having pizza was bad. So you were saving all your calories for the pizza and then you were starving. So you eat half of the pizza. Where now, with this shift and this balance, you're eating breakfast, you're eating lunch, you're eating a snack if you need to beforehand. You're going to bring a protein shake or some source of protein to eat with your pizza. Maybe you're only having a slice now, but you're enjoying it. And I think that's where the balance and the lifestyle can be shifted.
Oh, Kaylin, you are so smart. Okay, to recap, key points: cravings are normal. Don't let them control you. Hydrate. Hydrate before you dehydrate. I hate that I just said that, but hydrate. Be mindful of your portions. Pair foods for balance. Enjoy treats without guilt. It's about choice and not your willpower battles. And also to recap, take the 3-bite rule with a bit of grace. I don't want to be responsible for anyone.
If you haven't heard of any of these tips that we gave you, I highly recommend start practicing one of the tips that we gave today and see how it changes your relationship with cravings. Because I think there's a lot of room for opportunity if cravings are something that you are struggling with. And if you need more accountability with combating your cravings, or you want a plan that just helps you feel like you're in more control without feeling restricted, my one-on-one coaching spots are open, so you can apply using the link in the show notes. And all we're going to do is chat about what is the next best move for you going forward. Remember that you've got this. Cravings are just another part of the journey, not an emergency, and you can absolutely win this game. And in case you've never visited our show notes, our socials are linked below. We post healthy tips, we post meal ideas, we post our lifestyle, and a little bit of fun. So you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. Both of our handles are in the show notes.
And we're really funny.
So funny. We'll see you in the next episode of the Sis Let's Heal podcast.